So, the movie kicks off with a married couple, David and Amy Fox, driving late at night. They're coming back from a family event, cruising down this empty, creepy road where it feels like nobody else is around. Things start off kind of tense because, well, their marriage isn't exactly smooth sailing at this point. They're snappy with each other, little arguments bubbling under the surface. Then, out of nowhere, a raccoon darts across the road, and David swerves the car to avoid it. Amy, who's half asleep, jolts awake from the sudden lurch, and immediately the mood is off. As they keep driving, Amy notices something weird. They're not on the road they're supposed to be. David explains that they had to detour because of some roadblocks on the interstate caused by a crash. Still, it's obvious the stress is getting to both of them. Their conversation is prickly, they're annoyed at each other, and every little thing seems to set them off. At one point, Amy pulls out an apple to snack on, starts slicing it, but accidentally cuts herself. A tiny trickle of blood lands on the apple. They shrug it off, but it's one of those small moments that hints at how distracted and stressed they are. Then, David hears a weird noise coming from the engine. You can tell the car isn't in the best shape, and now, with the detour and all the extra stress, they're starting to worry. There's a sense of please, let the car hold up in the air. Just as things are starting to feel tense, they spot a rundown gas station in the distance. They pull up, and while arguing over directions and trying to figure out where they are on this hand-drawn map, a guy suddenly shows up at their car window. The attendant is a bit startling at first, but David explains their situation, saying they're trying to get to Downey. The guy then drops a bomb. They've been driving the wrong way for about 30 miles. The attendant offers to check the engine, and while he's doing that, Amy pulls out a photo of a little boy. She starts crying, revealing that the tension in their marriage isn't just about day-to-day stuff. They're still grieving the death of their child. This little backstory really sets the emotional tone. After a bit of tinkering, the attendant manages to fix the engine. David tries to tip him for his help, but the guy refuses, which is a bit unusual. Instead, he gives them directions and hands Amy a lit sparkler before sending them on their way. It's kind of a weird, almost eerie little gesture. The couple gets back on the road, but things don't stay smooth for long. The car breaks down completely, leaving them stranded in a really isolated spot. Amy points out that their cell phones are probably losing signal fast. With no other options, they grab a flashlight and start walking back to the gas station, which is about a mile away. During the walk, David brings up their late son again. It's a raw moment, and Amy struggles with the emotions, reminding us just how fragile things are between them. When they finally reach the gas station, it's empty, like completely deserted. Feeling a mix of frustration and unease, they decide to head to the motel next door to wait out the night. As soon as they get there, it feels off. They hear a woman screaming in pain from a back room. Naturally, this freaks them out, but David steps up and rings the desk bell. The motel manager comes out, acts casual, and just brushes it off, saying he was watching a movie. He tells them that any auto shops are closed this late, so staying the night at the motel is their only real option. Amy is instantly suspicious. There's something not right about this guy, but David, tired and stubborn, decides to stick it out. Here's where it starts getting really creepy. The manager oddly offers them the honeymoon suite, but only charges the regular room rate. On the surface, it looks generous, but there's this weird undertone that doesn't sit right. The couple heads to the room, and as soon as they're gone, the manager retreats to the back, and that horrifying scream echoes through the building again. The room itself is a nightmare. Dust, grime, a cockroach skittering across the floor, and gross water oozing from the sink. It's the kind of place that instantly makes you feel unsafe. Despite the gross surroundings, David and Amy try to settle in. They open up about their troubled marriage, sharing things they'd never said out loud before. But their intimate moment doesn't last. A phone call comes in, silence on the other end, then loud banging at the door. David opens it, and there's no one there. The phone rings again, and at the same time, someone's knocking loudly on the door that connects to the next room. David bangs back on the door, trying to confront whoever's there. Amy is terrified and shuts the door firmly. But the banging doesn't stop. It comes back at the front door. David, getting angrier and more desperate, tells Amy to lock the door while he rushes to check with the manager. At the front desk, the manager claims they're the only guest tonight. He grabs one of the guns on display, saying he'll handle it because sometimes college kids sneak in for wild parties. Back in the room, Amy wants to just go back to the car, but David is too exhausted to move. He decides to play a VHS tape he finds on top of the TV, thinking it's just a movie. What he sees instead is horrifying. A montage of violence and torture happening in a room that looks eerily familiar. David starts noticing things, the curtains, the carpet. They match their own room. Amy soon puts it together too. The tape is recording their room. Panic sets in. David searches every corner and finds hidden cameras, even one tucked inside a vent. Just when they think it can't get worse, the lights flicker and go out. Banging on the doors intensifies, and a masked figure briefly appears. When the lights return, they try escaping through the bathroom window, but it's nailed shut. Amy spots her bloody apple from earlier on the sink, something she thought she left in the car. David tears down the shower curtain, hoping someone's hiding, but there's no one. They decide to run across the parking lot and into the woods, but two masked figures block them, forcing them back into the room. Desperate, Amy tries to remove the nails from the window while one of the attackers shows up inside the room. David comes up with a quick lie about having a gun, buying them a little time. He shares a plan. He'll run to a lone payphone outside while Amy distracts their pursuers. Amy pretends to pry open the window while David sneaks out to call for help. But his relief is short-lived. He's actually talking to the motel manager, not 911. Suddenly, a car speeds toward him, making him run back inside. They break the bathroom mirror to use as weapons. Unknown to them, the manager is watching everything through hidden cameras, orchestrating their nightmare. Later, Amy wakes up and scolds David for letting her sleep. They stay quiet, knowing they're being watched. David keeps analyzing the VHS tapes, trying to understand his attackers. He suspects the scream they heard at the front desk is recorded on one of them. What he realizes is chilling. Their captors aren't in a rush. They enjoy just watching their victims squirm, waiting until they get bored to take action. It's a slow, twisted game of terror that the couple is trapped in. From here, the tension just keeps ramping up. Every move they make, every little sound, every glance at a hidden camera makes the situation feel more hopeless. It's a relentless fight for survival, with David and Amy trying to stay one step ahead while constantly being watched. Their fear, grief, and frustration all come to a head as they attempt to navigate this terrifying trap they've unknowingly walked into. After all the chaos earlier, David and Amy realize something terrifying. Every time the masked attackers show up, they always enter through the bathroom. It's like that's their preferred route into the room. This discovery sends David into full-on detective mode, searching frantically for any hidden way out. And, lucky or unlucky, depending on how you see it, he stumbles across a secret hatch in the floor. It's a small, dimly lit panel that looks like it hasn't been opened in years. Just as David is taking in this find, Amy suddenly blurts out that a truck has just pulled up outside. It feels like a glimmer of hope. They might be able to get someone to notice them. They start banging on the window, waving frantically to get the driver's attention. But, as it turns out, hope is a cruel joke in this place. The trucker is actually in on the whole horrific scheme, working with the motel manager and the masked figures. The realization hits them like a punch. No one is coming to help them. The trucker's purpose quickly becomes clear. He's there to pick up a box full of those disturbing torture tapes that the manager has been hoarding. Before the couple can fully process this, the masked figures are already moving toward their door. In a split-second decision, David and Amy dive into the bathroom and drop down through that secret hatch David just found. They land in a dark, musty underground tunnel. Crawling through the cramped space, it's dirty, creepy, and full of unknowns. At one point, they almost step on a massive swarm of rats. The creatures are everywhere, skittering and gnawing, but the couple knows there's no turning back. They just have to keep moving. Finally, at the end of the tunnel, they find another hatch. This one opens up into a room that's even more unsettling. A surveillance hub filled with dozens of monitors showing footage for various rooms and all those horrific torture sessions. The whole place is a sickening, real-life snuff film operation. One door at the far end of the room leads straight back to the motel front desk, meaning they could sneak back out if they play it right. Before trying to leave, Amy finds a real phone in the room and dials 911. For the first time, they actually have a direct line to help, or so they think. But before Amy can explain anything, the manager bursts into the room with one of his masked goons, furious that the couple has somehow slipped through his fingers. The phone is still connected to 911, which only makes the manager angrier. He immediately dispatches his men to hunt David and Amy through the tunnel. But the couple proves to be surprisingly clever. They dodge both attackers and manage to emerge in a nearby auto shop attached to a gas station. To make sure no one follows, they push a heavy shelf on top of the hatch, effectively blocking the path. Finally, In what feels like a brief moment of safety, Amy breaks down completely. The emotional weight of the night, compounded with grief over their deceased child, hits her all at once. David holds her, whispering reassurances, reminding her that the accident that took their child was nobody's fault. They cling to each other, shaken and exhausted, and for the first time in a long time, they feel a connection again, thinking maybe they can make it through this nightmare and rebuild their lives once it's over. Their fleeting peace is shattered by the sound of a police car pulling up outside. Adrenaline spikes again. They can't risk being seen just yet. They stay low, watching as the motel manager steps outside to meet the sheriff, who's there in response to a 911 call. The manager keeps up appearances, acting calm and collected, even letting the sheriff check the premises and visit the very room David and Amy had been trapped in. It's terrifying to watch how easily he masks his true nature. Meanwhile, back in the auto shop, their hiding spot isn't entirely secure. One of the masked men finds the shelf blocking the hatch and tries to lift it. David and Amy work together to hold it down, hearts racing, praying they don't get overpowered. At the same time, the sheriff is investigating the motel. He notices a flickering light behind a door and discovers the sickening collection of torture tapes. Realization hits him immediately. This motel is a front for something horrifying. Horror and disbelief flood his face as he steps back, gun drawn. David and Amy recognize the shrinking window of opportunity. They know they have to move now or risk being caught. But just as they prepare to make a run for it, a cruel twist occurs. The engine of their getaway car won't start, and their walkie-talkie has been tampered with, cutting off their communication. Everything seems hopeless. Then, to make matters worse, the sheriff steps outside to inspect under the hood of his vehicle and is suddenly ambushed from behind by one of the masked attackers. He's stabbed fatally, leaving David and Amy in sheer panic. They retreat back into the motel room, adrenaline pumping, and start brainstorming a new escape plan. The connecting doors might provide a way out. David breaks a window, but realizes he physically can't squeeze through. Thinking fast, he tears a piece of Amy's clothing and places it on the window ledge, creating the illusion that they fled that way. Meanwhile, Amy hides in the ceiling, watching and waiting. David then sneaks toward the lobby to grab a gun on display. Before stepping out, he shares a tender moment with Amy, whispering that he loves her, a quiet, human moment amid the chaos. But as he moves into the hall, disaster strikes. One of the masked men lunges at him, stabbing him in the gut. Amy watches in horror, her heart in her throat, struggling to stay quiet so she isn't discovered. With the last of his strength, David crawls outside, only to find the manager grinning, filming him like some twisted director. The manager then heads back inside, searching for Amy, but she remains hidden in the ceiling, narrowly avoiding detection. As dawn begins to break, Amy knows she can't stay put forever. She climbs down from her hiding spot, but immediately a masked figure blocks her path. Fear and adrenaline fuel her sprint across the motel grounds. She jumps into a car, fumbling with the keys as the attacker looms over her. Suddenly, one of the masked figures crashes through the sunroof, throwing her into a panic. She swerves violently, smashing in a part of the motel structure. Her airbag deploys, saving her life. Amazingly, both attackers involved in this crash end up dead, one of them shockingly being the very man who once pretended to help them at the gas station. Even with the immediate threat eliminated, the nightmare isn't over. The motel manager, enraged at the death of his accomplice, pursues Amy relentlessly. She hears his furious cries echoing across the empty lot, fueling her determination to survive. Seeking another way to fight back, she retreats to the surveillance room, barricades the hatch with a heavy shelf, and grabs a hammer. Summoning every ounce of courage, she steps back into the lobby. She spots a gun nearby and reaches for it, but the manager sneaks up from behind, catching her off guard and choking her. A brutal struggle ensues on the floor. The manager seems to have the upper hand, dragging her toward a couch while recording her and ranting about how he should have killed her the night before. But Amy isn't giving up. With a sudden, powerful kick to his groin, she turns the tables. They grapple fiercely until she finally gets hold of the gun. She fires multiple shots, and the manager collapses to the ground, finally defeated. Breathless, exhausted, and terrified, Amy rushes to check on David. Miraculously, he's still alive, weak but conscious. Relief floods over her as she holds him close. She grabs the phone again, dialing 911 with urgency, begging for immediate help. The chaos and terror, finally, seemed to be giving way to a semblance of safety. Sitting beside her husband, shaken but alive, Amy reflects on the ordeal they've just endured. They've survived unimaginable horror together. And in that moment, she decides to let go of all the bitterness and anger in their marriage. The divorce plans are abandoned, replaced by gratitude and a desire to rebuild. The film ends with them together, bruised, battered, but alive. The terror is behind them, or at least it seems so, and they sit in quiet reflection, appreciating each other in a way they never did before. It's a story that mixes terror, grief, and love, showing just how extreme circumstances can bring people closer together. Thanks for sticking through this recap. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe for more movie breakdowns and recaps. Until next time, stay safe and enjoy your day.